This is my prayer journal, which also has in it all my goal sheets from 1997, 1993. July 93. Wrote down my personal mission statement. How does God want to do this mission through me? ? And I have 3 Roman numerals in the outline. Number 1 is products: financial peace book, video, audio, newsletter, crisis book, secular and biblical workbook, specialty items like t-shirts, and software, which was a brand new thing then. By the way, when I wrote all of that down, none of those things were in existence except the financial peace book. There was no audio, there was no video, there was no anything in July of 93. July of 93, Roman numeral number 2, high touch, support group concept, seminar mixed with counseling. Because I had figured out personal finance was 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge, and so I had to help people with their money by changing their behaviors, and I had studied behavior transformation, behavior modification through several different lenses: a biblical lens, through a psychological lens. I've got several grad level psych classes. It was my hobby in college to take a bunch of grad level psych because I was interested in what makes people tick. And so I had studied, and by far, without question, the highest success rate on major behavior transformation would be an addict who breaks an addiction and doesn't have a recidivism rate. Well, rehab centers, they help to varying degrees, but by far the small group for accountability, known as 12-step, has the highest success rate of anything in that space. Nothing else touches it in behavior modification area. And small group accountability and other things. I got to studying in other different areas other than just 12-step. And there is actually a Debtors Anonymous for people who can't stop doing debt. It's a 12-step program, and you're not allowed to go to a 12-step group unless you're invited by a sponsor and sit in. But there was a local one, and I talked the guy and let me sit in one night. He got permission of all the people because they heard I was studying it and what they were doing, and I went in and sat with them and took notes and asked them questions, and then got up and left, and they had their meeting because they don't do their meetings in front of outsiders. And so I've studied this stuff. This is where this was born. I want a support group concept with a seminar, a speaker giving out information, and then counseling one-on-one and group concept to be able to cause the behavior modification to help people get on a budget, get out of debt, live on less than they make, and become wealthy. Roman numeral number 2, high touch. That's all I wrote down. July, here's the 7 things I want to do, including build the group concept. By then I named it Life After Debt. By August, I wanted a 1-day retreat booked for Life After Debt. By September, by October, the following April was the first time I set up an overhead projector after I put it down out here in July and wrote down the details and took off with what became Financial Peace University. Then I went to a thing that a buddy of mine was doing that was a strategic planning, goal-setting exercise. He was a wannabe motivational speaker, and I went really to emotionally support my buddy, and honestly, it was pitiful. It was horribly done. It was one of those things like a root canal for a day. I sat there and listened to this guy and droned on. But he handed out this sheet that said 3-year strategic plan, and I did the exercise because I was sitting there. I might as well do something while I'm sitting there. And he said, by the end of 1995, what are your goals you want to hit? Well, at that point, I was on the radio, and I had one radio station. I want 25 cities with the radio station. I'd started syndicating it. I want to add 25 cities to the network. The network consisted of one station. I had sold at that point 10,000 financial peace books, and I wrote down I want to sell 50,000 financial peace books. And I want Financial Peace University to be taught in 5 different cities by the end of 1995. I missed every one of those goals. By the end of 1995, I was in 2 radio stations, not 25. I didn't sell 50,000 financial peace books, I sold 30,000. And I didn't have Financial Peace University in 5 cities, I had it in 3 cities. I wrote down by the end of 1996, I want to have the radio show in 75 cities. I want to sell 200,000 financial peace books, and I want to have Financial Peace University in 25 cities. By the end of 1996, we were not in 75 cities with a radio station. We were in 31. We failed. We had not sold 200,000 financial peace books. We'd only sold 147,000. We failed. We were not in 25 cities with Financial Peace University. We were in 5 cities. We had failed. I missed every one of my goals. But when you write it down and you can conceive it and believe it, you start taking the actions automatically to cause it to become true. And even though I didn't hit the exact number, the end of the story is 680 radio stations, second largest talk radio show in America, second only to Sean Hannity. I was number 3 until Rush died permanently, and me and Sean moved up a notch. That's not the way you want to move up, but we did. I didn't sell 200,000 financial peace books. It's currently at 3.2 million. And of course, Financial Peace University has been taught in 50,000 churches to 10 million people, not 25 cities. So I failed to hit those numbers, but the success was taking the actions to move towards those numbers with as much enthusiasm and brain power and sophistication as I had at the moment. I could do it a lot faster now, right? I know more. I got more scars. You could too. Digital didn't exist. It was not a thing. Everything's easier with digital or harder. So there we go. Set it out there. When I read this stuff from 1993 and I stand on this stage, it tells me the power of that right there. And someone that is motivated to take the action to cause those things to occur. Obviously, there's a lot of pain, a lot of manure shoveled. Obviously, there's a lot of issues, a lot of different things happening, and a lot of positive things, and a lot of wonderful blessings that came from left field that I never saw coming, and that put me, that I often say I'm better than I deserve because I don't feel like I have done enough to get to be here, and other times I feel like I've done way more than I needed to get to be here. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It's this weird dichotomy of feeling undeserving, and yet I have worked my butt off, and so some moron says, you're so lucky, I just want to throat punch them. Yeah. Writing those goals down makes them real. It helps you ask what must be true to get there. What is not true today that must be true to get there? Launching a product, there's a whole bunch of things that must be true. I've got to design the product, I've got to create the product. If we want to launch a book with George Camel on January the 16th, we started asking ourselves 24 months ago, what must be true for that to occur? Because obviously we have to write the book, edit the book, print the book, create a marketing campaign and a marketing plan. We have to create cover designs and test them. We have to work through a whole lot of ups and downs and backs and forths because the edits are painful on these things. They're hard. When it's on paper, you can figure out the actions and the milestones, the steps. It automatically starts. You ask yourself, what must be true that's not true today? What must be true if I want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days? I know what must be true. I'm not necessarily willing to do it, but I know what must be true. Y'all know what I'm saying? I know I got to make 67 calls in that call center if I want to make $100,000 a year. That we know what must be true. And it's not true today, so we have to change some behaviors to hit that goal. What must be true that is not true today for me to be the kind of leader that I need to be 10 years from now to lead an organization 10x the size of the one I'm leading right now? Because right now I'm leading precisely what I'm able to lead. So I got to be more able if I want to lead something bigger and scale it. That's me. I have to read, come to stuff like this every year and relearn and go back and apply and have a coach. And I got to do everything I can for me to get out of the freaking way, because what must be true is I got to be a lot better for this place to move on. And everybody in leadership has to say the same amen inside this place and all of you sitting here. So when you actually do the things and you achieve it, it's weird, it's anticlimactic. So we just went through all this with Dr. John Deloney's book. Wasn't he great yesterday? Yeah, wow. We have a detailed process to launch a book. So almost every one of our books launches at number 1. Highly unusual. We don't do a lot of books like publishers, but we do, 5, 6, 7 max a year. But when we do one, almost 100% of them have been number 1s. And it's not because we have some trick. It's just we know how to sell books. in a world that doesn't know how to sell books and where bookstores have disappeared, right? And so we're great marketers. So we lay that plan out on Dr. John's book, and we're getting after it. We're doing every little thing. There's like that marketing plan is like 7 pages single-spaced. I mean, the number of things, the number of podcasts he was on, the number of shows we got him on, the number of places for him to talk to push the book, the number of hours on the Ramsey show, which we can show a direct correlation to that, to book sales, the pre-sale distance. Don't want to start the pre-sale too far out, but you don't want to start it too close because all the pre-sales count in the first week's sales towards it. By the time we did all of that, we sold close to 50,000 books week 1. Number 2 book in the nation that week was 21,000. So we beat number 2 by 2x. Boom! I mean, we weren't fooling around, right? It's like jam the Super Bowl 59-0, shut up, right? But all that is exactly what we're talking about here. We laid that all out and said, what must be true, what must be true, what must be true, what must be true. And by the time we execute it, you know it's going to happen. It's like by the third quarter when you're up 50-0, you got it, And you're like, oh yeah, it almost becomes, the win almost becomes anticlimactic. All the energy comes in the striving. And by the time you get there, it's just like the biscuits and the waffles and the chicken's really good. This is just the syrup. This is just the extra topping. The win is just the topping. It's weird. You would think that, woohoo! No, it's all the stuff we got to do, the fighting and the grinding and the hustling and the sweat and the smiles and the horrible jokes and all this stuff that we went through together and the process and who spoke that into existence and caused that. And then you stand there and you go, dadgum, boom. All right, next. Immediately you walk on the next. That's what we all do. We can't keep ourselves from doing it. If you bask too long in that, you're the quarterback from high school who still throws the football in the backyard, Uncle Rico, right? You need to move on. You move on. Goal setting and getting things done is tactical. There comes a time when you've got to take the goal setting ideas and the benefit of goal setting and start moving it to strategic. And we've laughed about me in that regard. I resisted. It's like a bunch of corporate mumbo jumbo. The other thing that's helped me move towards strategic, other than actually doing the strat ops and doing the offsites with our team, even though I'm not, I enter it willingly now, even though it's not my gifting. It's not naturally fun for me, but what I do know is we have a proven set of results from having started to do it many years ago. The result, doing offsites, doing strategic thought, has advanced our business further than I could advance it with simple goal setting. And so for that reason, I understand that intellectually. One of the groups that's helped me with that is I end up, over the years, we've hired a lot of folks that have an MBA, a master's in business. How many of you all got a master's in business, by the way? Cool. Good. Love MBAs. We got a bunch of them on the team. I don't have an MBA. I've got a PhD in DUMB, but hard knocks, right? So, but I love the MBAs, and I've learned a lot from them. One thing I am 100% sure of, I have never met someone that went through a master's in business, an MBA program, in any school, anywhere, that did not come out really appreciating, understanding, and actually excellent at strategic thought. They teach strategic thought in that line of thinking more than any other thing. Now, some MBAs get more stuff on finance, some of it get more on accounting, some are good at marketing, but I never meet an MBA that doesn't have really good mind because they've been formally academically trained to do so on strategic thought. And so having all these MBAs on my team, they've helped me because they've taught me how the benefits of strategic thought and how to frame your mind that way, because my mind is not framed that way. It's framed tactically, like we've been laughing about, but it's also true. And so it's been great. I mean, I've got these young MBAs on the team, and it's been a good partnership because, they taught me how to do strategic thought, and I taught them how to work.